Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever stood there with your stethoscope trying to untangle a mid-diastolic rumble from a pansystolic plateau, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're diving into the rhythmic symphony of the human heart. We're going to translate those complex, abstract auditory murmurs into structured visual notes, like wet ink waveforms drawn right before your eyes. Let's map out the exact mechanics of cardiovascular sounds. Here is our roadmap for today. We're starting with the normal baseline heart sounds, moving into those tricky extra gallop sounds, and then breaking down the mechanical failures, specifically systolic and diastolic murmurs. Section 1, the normal heart sounds. Let's establish that baseline clinical rhythm. Okay, to really understand the heart's music, we've got to define our primary instruments. Think of an anatomical pencil sketch of the heart. S1, that's the sound of the atrioventricular valves, your mitral and tricuspid, snapping shut. And S2 is the semilunar valves, the aortic and pulmonary, closing tight. These mechanical actions literally set the stage for everything else.
So mapping this cycle out like ink on a page, you get that distinct lub right at S1, which kicks off systole. Then there's a brief gap for ventricular contraction, followed by a crisp dub at S2, right before the heart relaxes into the longer diastole phase. Lub, gap, dub, pause. That is your baseline, right there.
Moving on to Section 2, the extra gallop sounds, where we look at timing complications in the cardiac cycle.
Let's contrast two classic timing hiccups. On the top half of our mental notebook, we've got the S3 ventricular gallop. This hits right after S2 during rapid ventricular filling, usually in a dilated ventricle dealing with volume overload. It's got this distinct Kentucky rhythm, or lub-ga-ba. But then, look at the bottom half, the S4 atrial gallop. This one sneaks in just before S1. It's literally the atria kicking hard against a stiff, thick-walled ventricle. The rhythm completely changes to nit-and-s, or lelub-dub.
Now, context is absolutely crucial for S3. It can be completely physiologic, totally normal, in kids and fit adults under 30. But it crosses into pathological territory when it's driven by volume overload conditions. We're talking cardiomyopathy, aortic and mitral regurgitation, or constrictive pericarditis.
But S4? Well, in stark contrast, S4 is strictly always pathological. There is no normal S4. It's the acoustic fingerprint of a stiff ventricle, mainly caused by systemic hypertension or hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. If you hear that nin, tens, nis rhythm, you know for a fact there's pressure overload.
Section 3, systolic murmurs. Let's dig into the mechanical failures happening during contraction. First up is aortic stenosis. Imagine a calcified, narrowed valve forcing blood through. That creates a classic ejection systolic murmur. If you draw it out, the waveform is this vibrating, diamond-shaped crescendo-decrescendo right between S1 and S2. It builds up, gets loud, then tapers off. Lube, whoosh, dub. And clinically, you'll almost always catch this sound radiating right up into the carotids in the neck. So, what's causing that narrowing? Highlight these in your notes. It's primarily senile, age-related calcification, having a congenital bicuspid valve instead of the usual tricuspid, or a history of rheumatic fever. Now compare that to mitral regurgitation, which has a totally different acoustic vibe. Here, the mitral valve fails to close all the way, so blood actually leaks backward into the left atrium. This paints a thick, continuous plateau waveform right over S1 and S2, obscuring them a bit. You get this unbroken brrr sound, a pansystolic or holosystolic murmur. Oh, and this one typically radiates outward to the axilla, the armpit.
The clinical culprits here shift gears completely from what we saw with aortic stenosis. With mitral regurgitation, valve prolapse, and ischemic heart disease are the big ones to watch out for, right alongside rheumatic fever and infective endocarditis.
All right, Section 4, diastolic murmurs. These are the mechanical failures happening during relaxation. Kicking this off is aortic regurgitation. Blood is actually flowing backward from the aorta into the left ventricle during diastole. This early diastolic murmur hits immediately after S2. It starts off loud, then rapidly tapers out into a decrescendo shape as the pressure drops. Phonetically, it sounds exactly like lub-shu. And the etiology here is fascinating because it goes way beyond just localized wear and tear on the heart. Aortic root dilation can literally pull the valve leaflets apart. So we've got to look at systemic issues, connective tissue conditions like Marfan syndrome, rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus, plus rheumatic fever and infective endocarditis. It just proves how the whole body is connected, right?
Lastly, we've got mitral stenosis. Picture a stiff, thickened mitral valve just struggling to open. It produces this incredibly unique mid-diastolic rumble. Right after S2, you get this sharp, sudden acoustic strike, the famous opening snap. And that snap trails right into a low-frequency, rumbling waveform. Say it out loud, and it's Lube de Dreur.
The list of suspects for a stiff mitral valve is super concise. It points almost entirely to a history of rheumatic fever or, in some much rarer cases, a congenital defect.
So pulling all of this together basically gives us the ultimate clinical study guide. By organizing these 4 mechanical murmurs by their timing, systolic versus diastolic, and their specific waveform shapes, everything just clicks. From that diamond crescendo-decrescendo of aortic stenosis to the flat plateau of mitral regurgitation, getting the structure down is your key to an accurate diagnosis.
Which leaves us with this final thought. By visualizing the sound like wet ink on a page, translating abstract acoustics into structured clinical knowledge, how is that going to change your approach the very next time you put on a stethoscope? The heart is playing a symphony, and now you've got the sheet music to read along. Thanks for joining me for this